So here's the thing. One of the most common questions I get from people when they find out I'm a psychologist and a coach is, what books do you recommend on psychology or coaching? But here's one of my biggest secrets as a psychologist and a coach. I don't read psychology or coaching books. Yet, every book I read, every piece of content I consume, and every experience I have makes me a more effective psychologist and coach. But how? Because of, honestly, one life-changing realization I had a few years ago. So here's how I approach reading, and here's how you can also learn to read like a psychologist or like a coach, so that you can turn anything you come across into inspiration to use in your own life, in your business, however. So let's get started. So when I was in elementary school, my dad worked at a safety supply warehouse. And like most warehouse workers, he wore these bright neon yellow glasses. They were supposed to help him see clearer and reduce eye strain while he worked under the bright fluorescent lights. But I didn't really care about that. I just thought they looked super cool, so I stole a pair. And as soon as I put them on, my perception of the world completely changed. Suddenly, I could see in a way I'd never imagined. The lenses were great at filtering out distractions and highlighting unique details in the environment that were largely invisible before. It didn't matter what I looked at. Everything was tinted neon yellow because how I saw the world had changed. But what does this have to do with reading psychology and coaching stuff? See, the reason I don't read psychology books or coaching books isn't because most of them suck, although most of them also suck, because they're oversimplified pop psychology bullshit that's just kind of feel-good garbage. It's because I've spent 16 years learning how to see the world as a psychologist and a coach. So everything I read, everything I see, everything I do is colored by my psychology lenses. When I watch a TV show, I'm assessing how personality differences create compelling characters, conflict, and story progression. When I listen to a song, I'm studying how the lyrics echo universal human experiences and how listening to different types of music can impact our thoughts and mood. When I read a motivational platitude on Instagram, I consider the deep truth it's rooted in and how I can apply that deeper truth into a future article or video like this. When I read a fiction book, I'm pulling out insights for my nonfiction writing. Like after I read The Alchemist, I wrote what has become one of my most popular articles, 11 Lessons from The Alchemist to Help You Escape Mediocrity. And when I have a conversation with a creator or an entrepreneur, I'm observing patterns between what they claim to struggle with, what strategies have helped them before, what goals they have now, and what insights they took away from our conversation. Then I take these observations and turn them into future content, like this. Every conversation, every experience, everything I see through the lenses of psychology. So everything in my environment is inspiration waiting to be discovered. I just have to learn to see it. And this works for any discipline, right? Not just psychology, right? Like the most successful writers see the world through the lens of writing, right? You may have heard everything is content. It's a common motto in the writing world. Fiction writers are notorious for turning any experience in their life into a scene, into a plot, into a character, because they've learned to see the world through the lens of a writer. So everything they see is potential writing fodder. The most successful entrepreneurs see the world through the lens of entrepreneurship. One of the entrepreneurs I know owns multiple highly successful businesses, and he's an attorney and a lobbyist. Years ago, his home state passed legislation that basically made it illegal for teenagers to go to a tanning bed. Well, getting a tan is common for homecoming and prom. So tanning for teens is a solid moneymaker. The new law made that impossible. But when he found out about this new legislation, because, as an attorney, he pays attention to new laws, he saw it through the lens of entrepreneurship. Yes, tanning beds would be illegal for teens, but teens would still want to look darker or bronzer for dances. Tanning might be illegal, but spray-on tanning wouldn't be. Teens didn't care about getting a real tan. They just wanted to look tan. So looking at this issue through the lens of entrepreneurship allowed him to see the opportunity within the new law, while everybody else only saw the adversity. So boom, spray-on tanning for teens. Like the most successful whatever see the world through the lens of their discipline. Whatever their craft, whatever their profession, whatever their zone of genius is, they see the world through its lens. Psychology, entrepreneurship, writing, it doesn't matter. Music, it doesn't matter. Math, it doesn't matter. And that's what makes them so effective at what they do. And it makes it seem like they can see things nobody else can. Because they can. Their lens filters out distractions and highlights unique details in their environment that are largely invisible to everyone else. So if you want to see what's invisible to everyone else, if you want to find limitless inspiration, focus on learning how to see, not what to see. So a couple questions that can help you craft your own lenses of inspiration, because unique insights are downstream of unique questions. If you want to see what no one else sees, you have to ask questions no one else asks. So here are 6 to get you started. Use them throughout the day. Anytime you consume any kind of content or have a conversation, have an interaction, experience anything. The first one is, what is the deeper meaning or significance of this that most people would overlook? Second one, how can I use this to illustrate a point in a piece of content with a client in my life? 3, what ideas, experiences, or insights can I connect this to? 4, who do I know who'd love to learn about this and why? 5, what belief does this reinforce or contradict and why? And 6, what fundamentally makes this so powerful? The main concept behind all these questions is just learning to connect anything you come across with something you're already familiar with. Over time, you'll automatically make these connections. It just takes reps. Eventually, you'll put your own spin on these questions or develop your own, but they're a solid starting point to help you craft your lenses of inspiration. So kind of wrapping up, how you see matters way more than what you see. If you want to see the world through the lens of a psychologist, then learn to see the world as a psychologist, or an entrepreneur, or a writer, or a mathematician, or an engineer, whatever it is. Because using your lenses of inspiration is about intent. When you read with the intent to pull out lessons, when you speak with the intent to observe patterns, when you consume with the intent to develop deep insights, when you live with the intent to inspire and be inspired, you'll see the world through your lenses of inspiration, and you'll unlock the ability to filter out distractions and highlight unique details in your environment that are invisible to everybody else. So what books do I recommend if you want to learn more about psychology or coaching? Any book, doesn't matter. Just read it through the lens of a psychologist. Because I promise you, there are lessons in anything you read, any conversation, any experience that you can pull out with psychology, with creativity, with business, anything. You just have to learn to see it. Also, by the way, I've actually still got my dad's old safety glasses almost 30 years later, and I still think they're super cool. So thanks, Dad, if you're watching this. And if you're not my dad, because I know he already subscribes, if you're not my dad, consider subscribing to my newsletter. I share no bullshit strategies and insights from psychology to help you build the life you want. Until next time, take it easy.